You're
live from Pahrump.
Oh, you're going to do this time.
I don't know. You were just
Well,
dropping the ball.
We switched.
so-
I said live, and then you just kind of deer in the headlights.
I thought you're in charge now.
No, I
Logan Tyler, host of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. How are you doing?
Fine.
Okay, how do we start the show?
Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, live from Pahrump, Valley of the Dirt People. Tonight we're doing Hotel California Tequila.
Oh, we are. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. So this is Hotel California. You pronounce it right this time?
California, yeah.
Evidently, last time, it like you'd been drinking some.
Yeah.
But you're not allowed to, just me. So you keep going. You're doing good.
There's more?
Yeah, we usually talk. We like to thank our sponsors.
Yeah, so
Oh,
there's
maybe you should introduce that strange guy sitting next to you.
Trevor Hunter is on this week's Tech Talk.
Good morning, guys.
Morning. It's going to be morning by the time you get home.
Pretty much.
Yeah, Trevor says he has 30 minutes of time to give us.
Maybe.
And also on the line, I would like to welcome to the show. Do you know who it is, Trevor?
It's my favorite mountain bike buddy.
Oh, that's right.
We only rode once, and he hasn't invited me back.
Dave Donatoni, the infamous
Yes.
Dave Donatoni. Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, thank you, Jimmy. Hey, Trevor, what's happening, buddy?
Yeah, he can't hear you because we didn't give him a set of headphones. But Dave said, "What's up?"
What's going on?
Yeah,
So
we're gonna go riding again.
he says you guys are going to go riding again.
I'm ready.
Yeah, I know why he didn't invite you back. You pretty much destroyed him.
Is that what happened?
It was you were kind of a sleeper. You know, you had no idea. Well, nobody had any idea what was going to happen except for me because I knew where your mountain biking level was, and I knew where they were, and I knew that you two people had no idea. It's like people, like when they want to, they think they want to go riding with me, and they go, "Let's go on a Jimmy ride," and then I take them on a Jimmy ride. Dave, you know anything about this?
Oh yeah, I know a lot about these rides.
Yeah, but you see, you're at a level, and we know how we ride. We understand it, but most people don't understand.
Yeah, that's for sure. And so that's where Trevor kind of caught me off guard. I'm like, oh, look at this guy go. And I'm like, oh, no problem. I got him. And then I gave him a little run, and then he just answered back, and I had nothing for him. So it was
yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, where did that answer back come from? So he's basically explaining how well. So what happened was Trevor and I were up at what kind of intro was it? Fox Gear, something like that.
Gear, yeah.
And we were driving back through Thousand Oaks, where Dave lives, and Andrew Justikaitis from Giant Bicycles. By the way, thanks to Giant Bicycles, I have an E-Trance now, so I've had it for a year now, and I'm back in the mountain bike game because of it. So, and my shoulder is crying. I got cleaned out on skis a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, and then I am amazed at how much my mountain biking has hurt my shoulder. But anyway, so back to this thing. And I rode one of the very first Giant electric mountain bikes that day. And there was no way I could hang with Trevor if we went mountain bike riding, and there's no way I can hang with Dave or Andrew. But on an e-bike, all of a sudden now it's okay. I can go. And I remember Dave and Andrew are kind of like, "Who's this guy?" And I go, "Oh, don't worry about him. He's okay on a mountain bike." He's what level is he, Dave? Where's his level at?
I'd say he's a Cat 1 rider.
Cat 1 rider. Yeah. Are you?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, kind of.
Kinda. Sometimes. I feel like it.
So, yeah. So they started testing each other. It's kind of like, you know how dogs, when you get dogs around each other, you know what they do, Logan? They kind of check each other out.
Yeah.
Little butt sniffing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was taking place on this mountain bike ride. I could butt sniff all I wanted, and because I had the buttons, and I could go pedal faster, which is it's blown me away, absolutely ridiculous. And I didn't realize how game changing that stuff was, mountain bikes and everything. But this is a motorcycle show. This is where we talk about motorcycle and motorcycle related products. You didn't say that,
No.
Logan. You just make notes. Make notes so next time. And how's the cataloging of all the shows going? That's what I want to know. My assistant over here, call him producer Matt.
That's me.
Yeah, he didn't tell me how things were going. You got the whole inventory of shows all cataloged. So when I say, oh, yeah, we talked about that on show number 52, how's that coming?
Not that far.
Not that far along. So you've done like show 1 or 2?
30.
30 shows.
32.
Okay, that's more than I expected. So, okay. Hey, Dave, what are you having right now? I'm having a little Hotel California tequila.
Oh, no, that's nice, Jimmy. I'm actually having water right at the moment,
Water,
but
still at work.
I may have to change it up here in a few minutes.
So here's we usually answer lots of questions. We have a lot of questions that'll come through in the chat, and we have a few questions that came through on the questions from last week's show. So we're gonna start with those, and we're gonna go pretty quickly into Rooster Endo. And is your social media manager, Dave? Is she showing you on the screen what's going on? Do you have
No, I should get her on that.
Yeah, get her on that, because we're gonna do Rooster Endo, and you can help me out with this, because everybody says well, they always kind of say I'm an asshole. People kind of just say that straight up to me now. They actually don't say that. They say in code, they say you should be a little nicer, or you need to tone it down a little bit, or maybe sugarcoat it a little bit or something. And everybody around me that's here is like bobbing their head up and down. They're like, yeah, is this true, Trevor? Should I do this? Because you never say this to me.
I mean, if you want to.
I don't.
You don't want to?
No, because then I feel like I'm being fake. But anyway, so I guess I've been a little bit of an asshole on the Rooster Endos, allegedly, and some other things too. But I don't feel this way. I just feel like I'm being honest.
I mean, honesty is always the best way to go, I would say.
Okay, yeah,
And
and
maybe they'll get a better bike out of it.
$100 worth, because Taco
$100
Moto will throw you a $100 gift certificate, and I'm going to let I'm going to let you decide tonight. You get to decide who gets that. So a lot of pressure on you, and I know you made a really smart ass comment. See, here's me sugarcoating it. You made a really smart ass comment on the other side of this room that I'm not going to repeat. Although
Again, it's just honesty.
it was honesty. I
It's just
understand, understand this about how you would choose the best Rooster Endo bikes.
Yeah.
So I think you have a little bias, but hey, what's wrong with that? That's why I said you can pick the winner. All right? That's how we work here.
All right.
So Logan, who sponsors this show?
Yamaha.
Yamaha.
Taco Moto. Scott's Sports. Climb. DDC. Trail Tech. Bulletproof Designs.
That sounds good to me. Is that everybody? Those are the people that make this kind of keep flying and keeps me motivated to do this. So from Seamarsh, is that his name? Seamarsh?
I think so.
I think he's commenting on the 2021 Yamaha YZ250X costs $75.99 versus the KTM 250XC at $10,199. And he said a better comparo, because we had the question last week, and it was kind of, it said, are the KTMs worth the more expense?
Mm.
And again, shows sponsored by Yamaha, like Yamahas, but that Yamaha YZ250X does not have an electric starter. And I don't know, maybe Dave, coming from your era, you can comment on this. How much is an electric starter worth?
An electric starter is worth thousands once you've actually had one.
Yeah, it's thousands once you've had one. That's a great way to describe that.
Say, how long are your legs? That helps too.
Oh, so
If it's never had one,
if the guy with the shorter
right, if you,
the guy with shorter legs would have more need for he would pay more for the electric starter. How tall are you, Dave?
5'7".
And 3/4?
Yeah, 5'7.5". I'm
5'7"
shrinking.
5'7.5". Where are you at, Trevor?
5'7"
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah, so you guys would probably pay the same price for a Kickstarter. So, anyways, that's what it has. The KTM is also fuel injected, so that it shouldn't really cost more, but it's a thing. The KTM is also oil injected, and so everything these features I just mentioned are all call them conveniences. Performance wise, I don't know that there's that much of a difference, and some people prefer the simplicity of a carburetor because I understand a carburetor. I don't understand ones and zeros floating through some wires telling my injectors when to pulse. You know what I mean, Logan?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you prefer that,
Yeah.
but you didn't have to pay for it.
Mm-mm.
If it was your own hard-earned cash, is that $7,500 bike looking a lot better than the $10,000 bike? I mean, that's essentially $3,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, performance-wise, I think once the bike is started and running, and you're out riding around, and you're just doing what you're doing while you're riding, you don't have to worry about filling it up, and your jetting is already done. I think you're on the same thing. It doesn't. The price at that point doesn't matter.
Did he say what KTM model? Like XC, XCW,
XC.
XC?
Yeah, I think I don't remember. He kind of listed off some bikes, and he was under the person was under the impression. I don't know if it was C-Marsh. I think it was some C-Marsh is responding to that question. I don't think that they were really. I don't think he was really specific. He sounded like kind of a newer rider that had, and it's interesting that he had the perception that the KTM's had better features and were more expensive because of it. But that's the way he felt, and in some ways, you know, it's. I'm surprised that the Yamaha is $75.99. That seems low to me. I want to say
I think that's about
that's
right.
that's the
Yeah.
MSRP. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Okay. Who's gonna do the Yamaha read? Why don't we do the 2-stroke one? Right there. You want to make Trevor do it and then bag on him because you were gonna do it all by yourself, right?
I thought
Yeah.
Logan was going to make his own.
Logan was
read.
gonna make his own one. Do you have a 2-stroke or 4-stroke one?
2-stroke.
2-stroke.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, you know what? Go ahead. We'll make Trevor do a 4-stroke one.
Who's doing right now?
You're doing a 2-stroke one right now. Don't let him see this. Hide this. Wait.
Oh, I made
Oh,
one.
he made it.
Yeah. You wrote it.
Yeah.
It's not memorized.
No, I kind of did it.
You redid it. Okay. I'm gonna let you.
Let it fly. Let it fly.
I'm gonna let it fly.
I want to see what happens.
I don't think. Like, go back. So in the catalog in the show notes, it should have said Jimmy tells Logan to redo the Yamaha and have it memorized. This is what I remember. But then again, I drank a little bit on the show too. So go ahead.
Yamaha presents the YZ125, YZ250 as their newest 2-stroke bikes, with the YZ125 being just as playful, but got an all-new engine, re-revised 6-speed transmission, new brakes, improved rider ergonomics, and suspension settings. Also, the same old YZ250 got a revamp with improved rider ergonomics, new front and rear brakes, updated suspension settings. Both bikes come in Monster Energy Yamaha racing editions. For the younger generations of riders, there is the YZ65, YZ85, and YZ85 LW that delivers big bike specs in a smaller package. Visit YamahaMotorsports.com to see the full lineup of Yamaha YZ 2-stroke bikes.
That was an excellent plagiarism of those words. So good job. But you I thought maybe you would read it smoother since you wrote it. It still sounded like you were reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want you to deliver that like a professional. Like I want it to just flow off your tongue, unlike the questions that people send you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll work on that. Next week, memorized.
Okay.
Off the chart. So thank you. Thanks to Yamaha. Thanks to all of our sponsors. I wore a new Climb helmet today, a new F3, an F3 ECE helmet, and it's funny because I'm wearing some other different helmets today, and it was super freaking lightweight. And I just all of a sudden noticed how light that was, and so that's my Climb product today. And it looked rad too. It looks like a white helmet, but you see the sublimations and stuff in it. So check out. I'm pretty sure they're back in stock. So check out Climb.com for your helmet needs. What's up with Dakar and the shirt I'm wearing.
Yeah, there's a
This-
couple Dakar.
This is a shirt. This is a Fuck You Racing shirt, and it's 100% true. And the wording you can't see on the bottom.
They can kind of if you at Jimmy Cam point at Jimmy Cam.
The point of the Jimmy Cam.
Yeah.
Wait, that's this way.
There you go.
It says, "The other one is dead." 9 out of 10 people enjoy dirt bikes, and the other one is dead. So go to fuckyouracing.com. Just check out their Facebook page. Say hi to my buddy Jerry B. He's down in Australia. He's upside down because he's in Australia, if you think about it. Trevor's falling asleep because this show is super awesome. And I think we're going to have to get pretty quick into... I'll talk about Dakar later. And we're going to get straight into the Rooster Endos. We're not even going to take a commercial break. Grab that board.
Yeah.
So, Trevor, here's how it works. Dave, you have a screen in front of you?
Yep, I got you on the big screen.
Okay, so what'll happen is we'll start talking about the bike. So Trevor will read off the name, and then he'll glance at the picture, and then he's going to read off the stuff that is on the bike, and then we start talking about it. We make comments about it, and it's wide open. You can do anything you want. It doesn't have to be perfect, this board. And so you're seeing the Rooster Endo board. This is the if it's up on this side of the board,
No.
that's an endo.
Yes,
Husaberg's
yeah.
here, so this must
And
be
then
yours.
and up there by the Husaberg 570, it's way over there. I'll ring my own bell. That is the pinnacle of bikes. So you're trying to shoot for having a bike that's that roosty, if you know what I mean. So here we go. What's our
All
first?
right, number 1,
Hand me the picture.
we're going
So I
with Jesse Gent. Jesse
Jesse Gent.
Gent.
Yeah, he's
He's a regular listener.
he's a regular listener, one of us.
He's a cool guy. He won the Preston Campbell shirt.
Okay, that's right.
Nice.
So now you start telling us about his
Okay.
bike because we're just looking at a picture, and then the picture is up on the. It'll be up on the screen very
I'm
soon.
gonna need the picture back because he says you can see all of my upgrades. Instead of listing them out, he just says you can see all of them.
Well, it makes your job much easier. But now we're gonna have to
Wait.
because this is a podcast for the
Yes.
most part,
Yeah.
and so he's thinking that we can see things, but now I'm gonna have to see them through here. This to me looks like a KTM 350 EXC 2013
Yep.
model year.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you say that already?
No.
Oh, I just guessed. I just saw this. It looks a lot like Heather's bike.
I was gonna say it looks like
It
one of
looks like
Jimmy's
Heather's
bikes.
bike. It looks like Heather's bike with
The orange one?
with the exception of the tank. He has a white tank where Heather has the orange tank. I can see a Baja Designs headlight underneath there.
Squadron XL headlight.
Yep. He should have double take mirrors, but he doesn't. It looks like he has some other kinds of mirrors that are going to break off. I don't ever run those pipe protectors. It's got an aluminum skid plate. I don't use those. He has
Yo, I see it.
front disc brake guard. Dave,
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Dave, what do we think of front disc
Yes.
brake guards?
I don't see any reason to have one.
Okay.
How
Well,
many,
'cause,
how many front discs have you bent?
it's been in all the miles. It's been very rare, and I was doing something really stupid when I did it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We've kind of picked up on a thing with the front disc guards. We're scared of them here. So he has some
Yeah.
grab handles on there.
He says he designed it to survive a crash in the desert. That's what he built the bike for.
Dressing for a crash.
Yes.
Yeah, it's rough. Does this look like Pahrump? Does it look like around Pahrump? The photo?
He's a Vegas local.
Oh, okay, yeah. It looks like the hills around here. It looks very similar. So because of the Jesse, I'm sorry, but because of the lack of information provided and the extra work that I just had to do, I'm gonna put it over here in the E section. We'll call it the E section tonight. So that's an endo. Oh, that's a very nice bike, but it's doing an endo, and I'm gonna have a little more of this Hotel California. So next.
N King Hu?
Oh, what? Oh, hold on. Give that to Logan. He's good with the names.
There we go.
And I'll take the picture.
In King Who?
In King Who.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
the best I got.
Yeah. Oh boy.
1 second. Bad
So-
producing. I didn't.
You
This
didn't-
picture is not in OBS.
Oh, it's not in our. It's.
I'm gonna get up in OBS. It won't take me long.
Okay, so we are looking. Well, here's the problem we're looking at.
He's got a
look.
twofer.
Well, it's the same bike. He's got a Supermoto kit.
Yeah.
He's got a Supermoto kit on this thing, and this is dirt bike test, and it's Tech Talk. I guess we could talk about street bikes on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
Supermoto, they go in the dirt a little bit too, usually.
It
Right?
wasn't. Doesn't Scott do Supermoto stuff?
Scott was Supermoto guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supermoto racer.
Yeah, Supermoto Racer was his magazine back in the day. I'm okay. Let's at least imagine if you had a disc guard on that front of that Supermoto bike. It'd be like a shield. It'd be like, you know, the shield that the superhero comes, or the Viking when they come and attack you. That'd be like what would be coming at you. Actually, I would use that as a weapon. I'd wheelie into people with my disc guard. I'd turn the bike sideways, and I'd just ram them with the disc guard if I had a Supermoto bike, but I don't. So, okay, tell us about this, Trevor.
All right. It's a 2020 500 XCFW with the taco sauce from Taco Moto Co. So he's repping our sponsors.
Yes, you like this?
Taco Moto, they tuned the Get ECU. It's got a Graves slip-on exhaust, deleted the reeds, screenless intake and vented airbox, various sick-ass bits to make it street legal, Recluse clutch dampeners, in Supermoto trim. He has an M50 caliper from a 1290 Super Duke, mounted to an Italian axial to radial bracket from Purte 1. I don't know.
I understand. Okay, so what he's done is he's taken the normal mount on the bottom of the fork, and then they machined something into it so that they can mount it radially, which is it's designed to give the brake like better performance and stuff. When you start adding all of this extra, I'd have to look at it to give it a look, but you'd have to feel how it actually worked. With a brake like that, you're going to flex the forks. I mean, if you have good traction and you get on your brakes, but that's a. Can you see it in the photo there, Logan? Is it? I mean, I think it's just an extra. It's a way to space that caliper farther out, but. Yeah, that's a lot of underwear changing to get that bike into that. He just needs two bikes. So
Yeah. It's got warp 9 wheels, slipper clutch, and Brembo brakes.
and I'll tell you, I'm no fan of loud exhausts, and I'm pretty sure you would not want to hear this guy going down your street at 7:30 in the morning on Sunday when he's going out on his ride. But you know, when he starts talking about cutting out the screen and taking out the reeds and all this stuff, with this setup on a Supermoto bike, those mods all of a sudden start working, because when you have a lot of traction, i.e. street tire on the street, it's much more like a dyno where a lot of this stuff was tuned. So when I see someone say, I cut the screen out on my whatever it is, dirt bike, and I go, how's that doing you? And they're like, oh, it's way better. It roosts. And I mean, it spins. It spins out. So
I want to know what the little red things below his foot pegs are.
the red things below his foot pegs.
I think those
That's like
are his foot
dragging.
pegs.
I think they're for dragging.
Dragon peg in the corners.
Oh, I
That-
see it. Yeah, I'm enhancing for the chat.
I tell you what, it's hard to get a foot peg on the ground on a Supermoto bike. I mean, just in general. I mean, you can do it on
They
the-
look worn. Like I'm zooming in on the picture. They look a little worn, actually.
His tires actually look pretty scrubbed in too. The street tires.
Maybe he
Oh, they
high-sides
are.
low
They
sides a
are.
lot.
Yeah, maybe low sides lot. oh, so he's straight.
Okay, he might, because the only one of them seems scratched up, at least in the photos. Like the rubber's underneath.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to.
We need some video.
Yeah,
From right
we
from the
need.
turn.
Where's the video submission of this thing? He should have just been doing one of those one-handed donut things in the parking lot,
Yeah.
can
and
hear the bike
and
too.
then said, "Here's my bike," and just described the whole thing. Here, you decide where it goes, Trevor.
Oh man.
What's next, Logan? What's our next one?
Justin Smith.
Okay, what do we got?
Oh,
A sunset shot.
Oh, yeah.
How sweet.
Scenic.
That's really nice.
2015 FE 501 in the middle of Wyoming. Functional mods only. HDB dash and bark busters and Scott stabilizer. Suspension by Alex Martins.
That's conflict, by the way.
That's what we wrote today.
Yeah, not a conflict of sponsors because we don't necessarily have a sponsor for suspension, but it's conflict suspension. That's the name of
Oh.
Alex Martin's company.
Oh,
That's okay, though. Hey, Dave, you looking at this thing?
Yeah, I am.
That looks kind of familiar.
It does look
Sure
familiar.
this isn't the rally bike I blew up?
I like the bags on the back. That's the way you're keeping it off your own back.
Yeah, that's good. So
The
is he-
weight,
does he
that
li-
is, the stuff you're carrying. So that's kind of a nice bonus.
Is he listing the bags off there? What's he got?
mm,
No.
No.
Look, keep going. Keep.
he's got minimal bling,
minimal bling.
steel fastway pegs, C-size ram mount for iPad, rally, light fun with rally blitz. Giant loop Mojave, mostly retired in favor of loaded climb arsenal vest.
Ooh, yeah.
No,
Huh.
no engine or exhaust mods aside from feeding it a lot of gas, changing a lot of oil, and cleaning a lot of air filters. And
This guy sounds like he should have a podcast called Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Where I'll bet you he's going to say, and the next thing he's going to say is, that if I want to go faster, I just twist the throttle.
I think the bike looks pretty sano.
Yeah.
he also says its most endearing trait. It has towed a Husaberg 570 out of the desert.
Shots fired.
Indo,
looks like it goes
Indo,
above it.
Indo.
And
570.
it just this thing was going. It was just
was
shooting
close
up
to
the.
Husaberg.
It was getting close up there, but you know what? This is.
Is this even gonna make
that
the
was
board?
so. That was no. It's going to make the board, but it's going to be at this end of the board where it can watch the Husaberg toe.
Oh.
It's gonna be able to watch. I'll rate
Brutal.
this one, Trevor.
Brutal.
It's going to be back here where it can watch the Husaberg just tow it all the way up the scale of roost.
Oh, no.
That was such. What was our name again?
Justin
Justin
Smith.
He's in the
Justin
chat
Smith.
too. He just put, oh, hey, I recognize that bike.
Yeah.
Right when you read.
Yeah, Justin. Glad. Oh man, that was out. Yeah. Well, it's not as bad as the
Husatard.
Husatard. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What do we
Eric
got next? here?
Gurley.
Eric Gurley.
Taco Tune.
Gurley. Yeah. Gurley. That's right. Yeah. It's
Can you
Taco
show me the photo
Tune.
really quick?
it's the 6 days one.
Get
Some producer forgot to label the pictures by name.
ECU with map and traction control. Taco Smog. Delete. Baja Designs. Headlight. C Concept seat. BRP. Handlebar mount. End cap and rack. Wide pegs. Carbon skid plate and pipe cover. Emperor. Racing radiator guards.
Have we had anything but
Emperor.
KTM's in this on this thing?
No, that's it.
They've all been KTM's, haven't they? Or KTM's or Huskies or white KTM's or
Unfortunately, yes.
We do stream to a KTM Husky group, so
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And I would think that if you especially if you're going to Taco Moto. By the way, go to tacomoto.co.
that's
Not com. Tacomoto.co, and that's the website, and you can see all different kinds of things. You can almost make your bike like Gurley's here, like the Gurley bike. Is that bad to say it's a Gurley bike?
Nope. There's
No.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's because it is. It's a Eric Gurley's bike.
Mhm.
I think he's got all the stuff too. It's funny because it's very similar to the other bike, except more blingy.
Mm-hmm.
More blingy.
And so noticing on the back, what does he have? A rack on the back for
He's got a rack.
like a
Is it-
chainsaw? Or?
I would hope it's for a chainsaw, but it's probably to carry around
End cap and rack.
end cap and rack. Pro Moto billet. End cap and rack. Is that what it says or not?
End cap and rack.
It's a pro. Yeah, I know Pro Moto billet makes these things, but hopefully he's carrying a chainsaw around. But I'm suspecting that. What would you put on the back of that thing, Logan?
Gas. The
Gas.
jacket.
a jacket.
I thought Logan would put girls back there.
No, he puts them in front of him.
Oh, that's right.
Hey, Dave, you ever heard about Logan's technique for going on dates on the motorcycle?
Oh, this has been going on for over a year, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, you were,
I think I
you
have
were-
heard of the technique.
You know-
Doesn't he set the girl like facing him in front of him on the bike when they're going on a date?
This is correct. Yeah. So, yeah. And well, I don't know if they ride like that. He never really confirms or denies whether they actually ride around like that. But I have seen him. I've run up on him out in the desert, parked on top of a hill, in that position with the girl sitting in front of him on the motorcycle, and that was actually two of them. His sister was on the other motorcycle, sitting in front of the other guy, and of course Logan's dad's sitting here, and it's like what? This is news to me? So I mean, you must have had some techniques like this back in the day, Dave. You know, like when you were slaying the ladies down in Malibu.
Yeah, they'd ride in the back of my CZ 250. Had a 4-speed on it, and we could just wheel stand wherever we wanted on that bike, you know. But we were just riding. I think Logan's got a 1-up on me.
Oh yeah, we know this. But a friend of mine, another guy that's out here in town riding, he brought essentially his daughter down here. Nice young girl, 17-year-old, pretty cute. We on the last week's show, I told him like some pickup techniques, like Dave. I don't know if this applies to you anymore, but like send nudes was what I told him, and I guess he forgot to, and then I ended up meeting her, this nice young lady, and Logan missed out, really missed out. He hasn't even seen a picture of her.
I have.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you get it?
Her?
Oh, she sent it to you.
Yeah.
Are you guys texting or anything like this?
For a minute.
Oh, for a minute. You blew her off that quick? I mean, I'm telling you, Logan, if I like girls, and I don't know about you, whatever, but I'd be texting with her a little bit. You should probably tell her to watch this show, and then she'll learn a little bit about you, your dating techniques and stuff, and that might be up her alley. She knows a little bit about motorcycles. She's from Wyoming, so they, horses and riding bulls and all that stuff. Okay, back to this bike. Where the hell did we put this thing? Dave?
Undecided.
It's got blue, so I like that.
Oh, Trevor wants it to go up high. It is a KTM. It is an EXC. I like those things. It's a 500. I like that.
It looks pretty Sano. It's probably somewhere in the middle of the board.
Yeah, well, it's kind of just two-sided, but I'm going to go with you on that. I'm going to put it up here up more on the endo side. He didn't slam the Husaberg. That was nice of him. So, okay, we're getting up there. This is our last one for tonight?
Yeah. Don Barker. Bone stock motor, a few bling items, kid plate. Sure.
A tid plate?
Skid, but yeah.
But he said a kid plate.
Yeah.
Maybe the kid plate's the thing on the back where he puts his kid.
Is that where he keeps his children?
And the skid plate is the thing on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you wouldn't want to put a kid in front of down there, yeah. So this is a KTM 1190.
Yeah. KTM hard luggage, TourTech headlight and guard.
I'm surprised he didn't say that it was more powerful than a KTM. Wait a minute. I recognize where this picture is taken. This picture is taken at Lakeside.
Yeah.
Just down the street.
Yeah. He said he listened to the show, and I said you should submit a photo, and he's like, okay.
That was a quick turnaround.
Yeah.
No wonder he didn't put any information there. This is just going to start going down endo row.
Yeah.
Because of lack of information. But it's a clean bike. What's the big thing on the back? A trash compactor?
KTM luggage.
KTM luggage.
Hard luggage.
It does look like a trash compactor, doesn't it?
It looks like a trash can.
Yeah.
Looks like a cooler.
No, but if you look at the way they handle,
Yeah.
like the front thing, the side thing, it looks like one of those trash cans that you step on the lid and it pops open. And I mean, the way adventure bikes are going these days, I'm surprised nobody has started putting trash compactors on their bike because you could be the most happening guy at the Adventure Rider Rally that you go to because like everybody brings so much stuff and then they use some of it and then you could just compact it all into smaller things. I think we need to go into business, Logan. We're going to make ADV bike trash compactors. Not enough scratches. I don't see enough scratches, but he does have knobby tires on it. And they almost look like Kenda Big Blocks. They might be TKC 80s. I'm not really sure.
They look like 80s.
They look a little more square than the big blocks. So where are we at with this one? Who's rating it?
He did just say it's actually a tequila bottle holder.
Oh, sorry. Don, yeah, it's that's he's got the blingy brake reservoir caps.
Mm-hmm.
I like that for some reason. It's Roos. It Roos since he's swung by today and he's too close. If we make that thing endo, he could literally come by here and get
He literally just said he's right around the corner.
See the threats are already coming.
Right.
Hey, look, I can read people pretty well.
He knows where you sleep.
He's staying like literally a football field from my house. So
Right. Yeah, you're even worse off than me.
Oh,
Matt said to take it there, but more complete lists, guys, on this thing.
wait, did we actually rate the super motorbike though? I don't think I saw Trevor rate it.
We haven't rated it
Oh,
yet.
he's dodging. He's dodging.
Come on, don't waffle.
Based on the specs, you got warp run wheels. I'm a fan of those.
Yeah.
Push marketing. So I'll put it right behind this blue KTM. It's kind of a do-it-all bike. It's got the street and the dirt.
Right up here on the roost
It's
thing.
kinda,
It's a different kind of dual sport.
it's a different kind of dual sport.
Yeah.
So I tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna answer a couple more questions and then we are going to pick our winner. I'm gonna make Trevor pick it, and we're gonna go. We'll come with the winner right after we go on break, on a commercial break.
Because just because you were the most roosting, it does not mean you win the $100.
No, I'm gonna let Trevor pick, but I'm pretty much gonna tell him what I think.
Okay.
And I'm gonna strong arm him pretty hard.
Okay.
So, but he gets to choose. I mean, you just say it. I'm an asshole. So, okay.
So Logan should take the. Logan, do you want to get the board now?
Take the board?
Yeah, take the board.
No, you can leave it. Oh, it's wrecking the whole show?
Oh, it's just kind of
Blocking.
I want to see your elbows.
No, I think we can leave it up. We'll take it down to the commercial break.
Okay.
Everybody can, because there's people in there that have bikes on this and they want to see. What happened to all the other bikes? Where are those?
They're at a different.
That
The other
other
board?
board
Secret
probably
location.
needs to get mounted someplace up on the side of the thing. We should. I was gonna hang a crankshaft up on the wall today. I have a crankshaft out of a Honda CBR 600 or something I disassembled, or not the crankshaft, but the rod and the piston. I thought it looked cool. So on our 2020 YZ250 riding impression, SJ Sammy S says, good review, man. Definitely going to trade in the 250F for one of these. So, you know what's good about that, Trevor?
What?
You sold a 2022 YZ250.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you sold it because that was your riding impression, right?
Yep. I wrote it. I did the video too. I did it all.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
it.
So that's good.
It's a good bike too.
What brought you all the way out to Pahrump here, besides to appear on this awesome show?
It's been a while since I've seen Logan, so I figured I should come out and chat it up.
Really? Yeah.
And there's a motor to be built, so
that was
helps.
painful.
That was a struggle to watch.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah, but
You-
we know how to tighten the cylinder head. We know how to torque. it
Hey,
properly.
if anybody needs to know about the torquing procedure on a Yamaha 4-stroke single cylinder, we are now experts, because when you just do it once, you don't soak it in. But if you do it 3 times, it's that repetitive stuff that really makes it soak in. And the funny thing I've learned, and this is important for you guys, coming up, like most quote journalists or these guys that are evaluating motorcycles, can not even come close to doing what I did today, even what you did today, because they don't have the patience to even stand around and try to learn. They're like, screw it, just give me another bike. Give me another free bike. I want to go riding. It's just amazing how, each one of these bikes has its own little things. And if you work on the same thing over and over again, you kind of learn it. But I usually take it apart, and then 1 month later we finally get the parts, and then the pieces get put back, and it's like I have to remember how I took it apart. But they all go back together. Like it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. Well, not really. But then you just realize you put one thing in there just a little bit wrong. Like today, the cam chain guide, not the tensioner side, but the guide side, caught us out because it needs to go in before the cylinder head goes back on. Even though it slides back down and it goes almost into position, it doesn't go into position with the cylinder head on. And this is a Yamaha thing, because some other bikes that they will actually go in last. So you have more room to work with the cam chain. Then you can kind of finally slide it back in. But we found this out, and it was funny because I remember the first time when we put the GYTR head on there, we had some similar issues with the cam chain and alignment and all this stuff. And I forget those because by then I've done a KTM 500 and 2 other bikes and a TTR 125. I think Dave, how's the TTR one? How big is it now?
The TTR 150?
150?
140 to 150?
Yeah, so I'd done one of those. Another Blue Crew bike.
Yeah.
So,
that one turned out good.
You had no mechanical failures.
No mechanical failures at all. And in fact, in a drag race, it proves to be much faster than yours.
Oh, my TTR.
Yes.
My TTR has an oval piston, by the way. So does my XR100. They have oval pistons. It's a technology that Honda started working on, like in the late 1980s, I believe. And I just actually rode mine so hard that the pistons became oval on the flat track. And so I talked to Dwayne at BBR about getting some new cylinders, because I was literally thinking I could just get a piston kit or something for him, and he's like, no, I just put the whole new stuff back on, and it's probably gotten better because your bike definitely did pull mine a little bit. It's tired. Yeah, good time. So anyways, what I was trying to get at is it's hard to learn how to do all these different things, but learning how and see how they work and putting them back together the right way, and and we've had good luck with all the stuff I put back together for you, yeah?
Sure.
For the most part?
Sure.
What one did we have problem with?
KTM, that circlip fell out.
The circlip fell out.
Ruined the motor, and then the piston circlip.
And I think back about that, and I'm always wondering about that, whether it was something I did, whether it was a fault of something I did, or it was just came out.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just don't come out. That's the problem, is they just don't come out. And I put them in the same way, and I put in hundreds of them, and that one came out. But I remember we struggled with this.
Yeah.
We struggled with that circlip going in. So I wonder if it could, the same thing. Could it have been like slightly faulty circlip, like it bent? It's a piston. Bad piston.
It's a bad lance in the piston.
Huh.
Guarantee it.
So and you're saying it's bad. So it's the way it's machined in there.
It's either not deep enough machined or it's actually too narrow.
So we're saying that
the two lances are too narrow.
oh, and it's not allowing it's not allowing the circlip to fully expand.
It's always the piston.
That's it was funny because I kept saying it didn't look like it was all the way seating in.
Yeah.
But I mean, once I got it in there, I mean, because it didn't want to go in, it just didn't want to index, and we play with it. And the problem is you're doing it on a bike that the stroke is so short and the crank is so deep in the cases. There's not a lot of room to work with, and a lot of people will put the piston on. They'll slide the rings and stuff into the cylinder and then set everything down and then put the piston on while it's attached to the cylinder. And we didn't. We actually had it out in the open, and we're working on it in the open, and then set the rings into set the piston back into the cylinder. So we had some room, but I just, like I say, I remember struggling with that a little bit, and then it did come out. And see, he never even blamed me. You should have gone to the internets. You should have gone to Instagram with photos.
How do you know I didn't?
Oh, I don't know. Nobody told me about it. Like my Instagram reporters don't don't tell me. Dave, do you have a social media advisor that does this?
Yeah, I have a social media advisor that takes care of all that kind of stuff for me.
Yeah, because so that's how you know what I'm doing. You follow me on social media.
Yeah, exactly. And that's actually why I don't know much about anything on social media because
I'm getting there. I'm trying to drop off that thing. Logan, are you on social media right now? Or are you just twiddling your thumbs?
Twiddling the cord.
Okay, twiddling the cord. That's good. Is this show putting you to sleep yet?
Me? No.
No. Have you learned anything tonight?
Yes.
Did you learn anything in school today?
No.
Oh no. We have to go through this again? Hey Dave. Yeah.
There was not really a full school day.
The heater broke at school?
Yeah.
And they had to send you home?
They got a snow day, man.
Oh my goodness. Trevor stood out in the garage all day long in his freaking shorts and t-shirt, and it was like
Flip-flops.
flip-flops.
It was really cold.
It was all day long. And you know what's funny? I didn't say nothing. I just like, hey, you know what? You got legs. You can walk and get more clothes if you need them or something like
I
that.
didn't bring anything. That was the problem.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, that's but like he wanted to learn something. So he was there suffering. You should have when they canceled, you should have walked up to teacher, principal or whatever and said, "I demand to learn more today than this." I would I think you would have made a statement. You'd be a freak, but you would have made a statement. And then when they look at completely confused, go, "You need to raise my grades." That's how you bargain. So okay, well I think we're about time to take a quick commercial break, right?
Yeah,
we ready?
yeah,
to
we're
do
there.
that? Has George been putting up stuff in the links?
In the chat? No, I am trying to find Fox Racing's.
FAHQ Racing.
How long is the commercial?
Like time for you to leave. Enough time for you to get out of here.
Can we do some Dakar talk before?
Okay.
leave?
Oh, you want
Yeah.
to talk about Dakar?
Sure.
There's a
Okay.
lot of people in the chat who want
Because-
Me,
Dakar.
I like racing, so.
Oh, it's the one thing we don't talk about in this show unless it like. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, but these are your guys.
No, I know. I'm just teasing.
Yeah, yeah.
We can talk about Dakar. No. You know what? You need to listen to the Dakar Daily podcast, Jesse Ziegler show.
Jesse and Quinn do a good job with that.
Yeah,
too.
they really do. Actually, they do because Jesse is a fan and kind of he doesn't have any rally experience, and then Quinn has a ton, and Quinn is very involved with the KTM side of things.
Competition.
Yeah, he understands it, and he knows a lot of people that are here doing it. So that's a great. If you want to get really good insight, go there. Don't listen to what this donkey has to say. But I have an opinion about everything, so let's go. Fire away. What do we got? What are their questions? Shoot them. 9 out of 10. No reference manual.
Hold on. Well, Logan, I did put some of them in the chat, but
See, Ryan Nitson's listening. He's one of Jesse's minions.
Oh, he is. He has to work for Jesse.
Yeah.
I
Kinda
wonder what
you and
that's
me.
like.
yeah, he said thanks for the plug.
I got a question.
Okay.
Do you believe the Christini all-wheel drive on the is reliable enough to do Dakar?
No. As a system, no. Not even close. It would require a lot of maintenance. And it would not be an advantage in today's conditions, today's bikes or anything like that. I think that system is it would be the best thing ever if they put it on adventure bikes. Just like we have four-wheel drive trucks. It's like this, but not for racing. When you learn how to ride it, it can work really good, especially in sand, especially in like low traction situations. I like it. Actually, I was thinking about going out and riding some figure eights on it the other day. I just wanted to go do it because it carves. So okay, next question.
Justin Smith. So what's the Jimmy scoop on Dakar?
I don't have a Jimmy scoop. I'll tell you, like what I think, what I see is that, and it's very unfortunate, is that the organization has made the navigation to the point where it's a guessing game. You come to a note and you have to guess where to go. And my problem with this is, and I've seen some notes. I've looked, I've seen, videos, I've watched the trackers. I've done as much as I can without actually being there, and I've talked to some of the guys that are actually there. And it's the point where if you get to a note that's we're not going to call it, we'll even say maybe it's a difficult note. It may not even be a difficult note. It's just a note, and you have to guess where to go. All of a sudden, that's not navigation anymore. That's guessing. And so when your note, your navigation trips up 6 or 7 of the best guys in the world at doing this, and they lose anywhere between, depending on where they started, anywhere between an hour and then 30 minutes to an hour, all of them. And when you watch what these guys did, they did everything right. I mean, as far as like, okay, if the note was a little bit messed up or if it was a little bit tricky, they did all of the things to, quote, solve it. But they didn't. And then by the time they took the time, 30 minutes to an hour, and really the first people that got there did the most work. They did an extra 30 minutes of work, which meant ride 11 kilometers, come back 11 kilometers to try it again, try something different, ride another 11, because the next waypoint was literally 11 kilometers away. The next, what we'll call a note that you could verify off of was so far away. And they do all this stuff. Then what you've built is a race between scavenger hunts. And then it doesn't matter how good of a motorcycle racer you are, how fast you are. It's just how lucky you get, and how lucky you get on the timing to be at the right place at the right time. Because you can be a pretty good navigator and show up on this group, and you're going to still be screwed. Or you could be a no good navigator, and you can show up in this group, and you could quote, "I just got lucky." And that's what you listen to some of the interviews. Some of these guys are going, "Well, I just got lucky." And it's like, how many guys are hucking, like are quadding something at a supercross and going, "Well, I just got lucky"? No, these guys know exactly what they're doing. And you start talking about watching any sort of high level. So my take on it is that they need to make sure the navigation, and the problem is they're in a tough position. The organization is in a very tough position because I think they're mandated to slow the racers down. And I think when I don't know this for a fact, but I think their insurance companies and stuff are like, you must take steps to slow these guys down because we don't want people getting killed. And so what do they look at? They look at the average speed of the day. And that okay. Or it's like, hey, make the bikes go slower, lower the top speed. They're doing all these things that people in a boardroom that have no idea what they're talking about. Well, they slowed the top speed down and they made the bike slower. Oh, okay, yeah, we can still insure this. Check. This is my take on why it's getting pushed down, because they want to do restrictor plates and they want to and if you listen to the racers, they don't want this stuff because it's way more dangerous. If you're trying to go across the desert at 149 kilometers an hour instead of 150 because you're going to get a penalty, and if you go 145, you're going to lose, and if and you're concentrating on that, whether it's a beeping noise or whether it's your odometer, you're going to hit something. You're already distracted by this damn map book you have to read. So there's a lot of weird stuff going on. But so there's complicated thing where they have to make the navigation more tricky. But if they make it too tricky, no matter who starts in front, they're going to lose time. As much as you practice, as much as you get good at this stuff, you're going to lose time. So all of a sudden it becomes a little bit more of a chess match. Like, okay, where do I start? How slow do I need to go to be able to win this thing in the end? And maybe that organization, which of course does the Tour de France, so they're very good at trying to preserve a race event over a long period of time that has strategies in it. Something that's boring as crap. I mean, watching, you may disagree with me, Trevor, watching a bunch of guys pedal for 300 kilometers across the flats to wait to get to one hill where they're going to race is pretty boring.
Yeah, I agree.
But they can build it up and they can talk about all this other strategy and all this other stuff. And so I don't know where it's going. I really don't. I'm afraid that it might get lost. Like they could do stuff to make it, like long, more marathon days, like really emphasize the marathon thing, but allow these guys to be able to race. The problem is right now they start off the starting line, and it's a motocross race for 3 hours. They are pinning it, and they pin it between navigation. And if the problem is if they make that navigation too tricky, then they slow down. Everybody catches up. Then you have a bunch of people, which is actually kind of good for the cameras because you get multi-bike shots. Which, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an answer. But that's my take. That's my whatever. What else is going on? Oh, did I just fire up the question machine?
No, I've got one.
Okay, go ahead, Bob.
Do the cars run the same?
Cars currently are running the same tracks, but I believe one of these days the cars and the bikes are gonna go their own loop, and then the next day they ride the loop the other ones did, which is gonna be really shitty for the second day. But at least then the cars get to open, which they do. They did this once last year, I believe, as well. So, yeah. Do we have other questions there?
So Ryan Netson?
Nitson? Where's his dad? His dad got bored of the show?
He's
Put him to sleep?
He's probably a super fan of Jesse now.
Oh, he watches Jesse's show.
Now that Ryan's a cycle news guy.
So he had said Skylar said governors are being implemented next year.
There's talk of it. It hasn't been decided, but whether it's governors or speed limits, the organization has said that they're doing something. I don't think, like I say, none of the riders are fans of either of those things, and for the reasons I just told you. I mean, if anybody's ever ridden a restrictor plate bike, and I have, what you lose is especially throttle response and power when you need it. And you think about what, and then like, I hate to use this saying, but they say like when in doubt, gas out, or you need power to kind of, when that bike starts going nose down into a bump and you don't have power to pull the front end back out, or it's crappy throttle response because they're going to tune the bike with a restrictor plate to make maximum power at peak RP. They're going to tune it to run as fast as they can. So it's not good. Neither of those solutions are good. Just it's about as good as a 6-tire rule, by the way.
Another dangerous one.
Yeah, dangerous. It's like the bikes didn't slow down; they just wouldn't stop. Yeah, and then they were blowing up tires. So yeah, they need a more educated. I mean, I don't know what they're doing. Yeah, I'm out of it.
Cars and everything, or just bikes?
Oh, they've been trying to slow down everything. They put restrictions, like quads have a speed limit, so the quads are under a speed limit. I think UTVs as well, or they have restrictor plates. I don't know. There's different rules. Yeah, I know the quads do have a speed limit. It's hard for the quad to go that fast, but it's a speed limit. What's the next one, Logan?
It is from Cole Smith. Are those, Jimmy, are they your ISDE gold medals on the wall behind you?
Let's not talk about me.
How about Mason Klein? Dark horse for sure.
Who?
Mason Klein.
Sounds like a dark horse. Okay, next.
Is that all
Okay. Hold on. So Justin Smith. So he said something about riding 3 notes in one box on the right. Is that what that one note
No,
was?
that note. Well, actually, that note had, it was a triple note essentially, but the third thing in the note, it said continue on main piece, principal piece. This is what it said, and there was no main piece there, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes into it. Like there's a lot of times what they call an opening car that goes out there, and the opening car leaves tracks, but the opening car is there to verify the course for safety, and so sometimes you can follow the opening car tracks, and there was a set of tracks on the ground that went completely the wrong way, which is typical. It happened back in my day, but did the opening car make a mistake by not modifying that note to take away the principal piece, or did they go around it in order to who knows? It's difficult. Then like I said, if you trip up 5 or 6 really good navigators, then generally there's something wrong with the note. It's not that there.
Because it wasn't just Ricky, right? It was also
It was
a bunch of like big names,
Luke,
right?
Yeah, Benavides. Yeah, there was definitely a few guys. Toby Price was in there. There's all these guys, and I know Andrew was there. Andrew lost 30 minutes there, and Andrew is like, Ricky and Andrew, the cool thing about those guys is they navigate in two. I would call them two completely different styles. And so if a note is quote tricky enough to trip one of those guys up, the other guy will figure it out, and then vice versa. If it's this style, there's certain styles of notes that these guys are very good at doing, based on their techniques, the way that they break things down. And so when I saw both those guys get screwed up, I go, oh, notes messed up. That was the first thing I thought in my head. Notes screwed up because one of these guys would have figured it out. They're really good. So, yeah. Next. And Chris Reel says, made for TV. Yeah.
I like Victor's joke.
Yeah, Victor says, it should be the Dakar, the price is right. That's kind of what I'm feeling a little bit of. I mean, yeah, call me bitter, especially, since my guys aren't doing all that well right now. But and we kind of knew that this is the direction that they're going, we trained for this. We really practiced this. But when, just like I said, when you pull it out of when you make the note so tricky that it involves guessing is not navigation. Navigation is a very precise thing, and being vague is one thing, but you can't be so vague that it requires a complete guess. If it requires slow down to be complicated, that's okay. But these guys are getting so good that they can look at it and they don't slow down much. They're really good at it. So if you have to make it vague to slow them down, that's wrong. No longer a race. It's a guessing game. So,
okay, I'm just gonna ask like a super easy bench racing question. Who is the favorite right now? Is it Sam Sunderland, or do you think someone else is going to come up? Because I see Skylar Howes is actually still.
Skylar's doing great.
Yeah, he's doing really
Yeah,
good.
Skylar is, and it's kind of like his thing has been to just kind of position himself in the middle. Not and there's no doubt that guy can ride as fast as anybody there.
Right.
And stuff. But who's the favorite right now? There's no favorite because it can happen to anybody.
Right. There could be another note.
There could be another note, and you can lose another hour just like that. And it's not necessarily your fault. The better a navigator you are, I suspect, the less chance you would have to get super tripped up. But that doesn't count anymore. You can just be lucky. And I've heard, like I said, I've heard guys come through the finish and go, "I was lucky," and I'm like, that's not the way I like to live my rally life.
Could be the opposite, where like the guys that can't navigate quite as well, they're the ones taking the guesses and they just happen to get it right. Whereas like Ricky or Andrew, they're trying so hard to.
No, I think you have to, and everybody, all these guys up in the front, they have enough navigation prowess to kind of to do the basics, the things, the right things. But it's just when it gets complicated, there's techniques that you can use to do it more efficiently and faster. And the problem is that it involves you arriving at the right time, because I know some other guys that are really good navigators that were farther back, and when they got to this area, like a lot of times they kind of just sort of follow, they confirm the notes and they follow where the tracks went, but all of a sudden the tracks went everywhere. And when the tracks go everywhere, especially in wet sand, if there was a road, you can't see anymore. And the same thing happened to the top cars. Top cars showed up there, did the note exactly like they should, and they lost exactly the same amount of time as Ricky and Andrew did. So they went through all the same procedures. And there's two brains in that car that are trying to figure it out, and it didn't work out. They didn't get lucky. Some cars got really lucky. Yeah. They just, and there's techniques that if in 11 kilometers there is a waypoint and people have got it. If you ride up, you're in a car and you ride up there and you see that the top bikes have gone through, there is a way that you can do something to figure out how to get there, to do it. And I'm kind of surprised that they didn't do that. But then again, the car isn't a motorcycle. A car can get stuck and it can't go cross country as good as a motorcycle can. So you have to be a little careful where you take a car, and this is sand, so they get stuck easy. So that might have been that.
Mm-hmm. But I see Pablo is leading, right?
Pablo is leading. Pablo is doing great. Pablo has a
he has a 15-minute lead.
15-minute lead. Yeah. So he's the quad guy that I work with, and I like quads. Is it okay?
Teach your own.
He's Blue Crew.
Oh, there we go.
It's all good. He's
That's all good.
I was on the Raptor 700.
Now it's all good.
I was
all good.
surprised. I was
Not
just
a
surprised
Banshee?
how.
Not a Banshee?
No, they don't do Banshees in Dakar.
Well, there is a lot of dunes, right?
There's a lot of dunes. Yeah, but they ride the play ones, the play quads.
Yeah.
His quad's gnarly.
Still can't believe how fast that guy was going on that quad.
He's like the Ricky Brabeck of quads. He hauls ass. He hauls the mail. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
hey, Ricky raced a quad once.
I remember that.
Yeah.
20 Palms, I think.
Yeah, I
Twin
think
Palms GP?
I don't know if it was his or it was
it
Patty
was Patty
Blaze.
Blaze's
Yeah,
quad.
yeah.
Remember that.
how did he do?
Some people make big mistakes in their lives.
I think he won, though. didn't
Yeah,
he?
I think he might have won. He could have. Maybe that's what he's going to come back to, a quad career after this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Justin Smith is saying stage 4 starts in 3 minutes.
Yeah, it does.
This might turn into a stage watch party.
No, we're not. We're going to take a commercial break. Trevor's got to drive home. You can watch the results. You can keep refreshing that feed and see what everybody's doing tomorrow. I think tomorrow's going to be pretty interesting. I saw where people are starting, and I think everybody wanted to sandbag a little bit more, but nobody wanted to lose as much time. But because there could be a couple hours sitting out there,
Right.
on the guessing game that we call Dakar. So okay, with that, we're gonna take a little break and come back with the winner of Rooster Endo that Trevor is gonna allegedly decide. Logan is we're gonna give you a Red Bull or a Monster. What do you want? Stay awake.
I don't have much experience with them.
Oh, staying off the energy drinks. Good for
I
you.
was just saying either is a good answer.
Yeah. So okay, well we'll see you in a few minutes.
All
Let
right.
it rip.
Living in the back room, sneaking through the back door. Never gonna get me, never gonna get me. Living in the back room, sneaking through the back door. Never gonna get me, get me, get me.
What's up, Moto Buddies? Mike here from Taco Moto Co. What is the Taco Touch? It's the best service in the industry. Virtually 24/7 tech support via email or text, and it's like having a dirt bike doctor on call every day of the year, helping you fix your bike or recommend parts or setups for you. If you've ever received an order from us, you know that the Taco Touch extends to our fulfillment, and our orders come with the coolest stickers that you've ever had, buying parts from anybody before, and a handful of root beer barrel candies. All of our Taco Moto co-branded components come with a no questions asked lifetime warranty, and we'll even extend out the warranty of other manufacturers, OEM, and aftermarket parts where we can, sometimes for life. We test and tune endlessly and exhaustively and obsessively. We're trying to destroy everything that we can before you get your hands on it to look for weaknesses and to improve it, or to make recommendations to the manufacturer. And if it's something that doesn't meet grade, then we don't offer it on the store. Everything that we carry is something that we have personally used, tested, and ridden, and raced, and knows meets the high Taco Touch demanding standard. Go out and get some adventure.
I've lost my co-hosts.
Both
Everybody,
of them just gone.
everybody ditched. Well,
I'm still here.
okay. I think you coming back on the show, Logan? Or did you quit?
No, I'm trying to fix a mistake.
Oh, fix my mistake.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like the entirety of my life. Trevor, thank you for joining Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. We'll have to get you out here more often. I want to do more than just 20 minutes of riding. I want to show you how awesome I am on the sand track. And if this were a show where we talk about racing, I would talk about how I'd smoke you. It's just straight up. That's what I would do.
We could also use another instructor.
Oh, yeah. You need to come out and learn the techniques. Saw how much he's making today. It's a pretty good day.
Tempting.
It's almost as good as working for Terry Beal, evidently.
Almost.
Push marketing.
Push marketing.
For all of your Moto marketing needs. How come he's not getting us more sponsors for the show? He's doing a little bit. But tell him he needs to really focus. Focus, yeah. Tell him it's like a new Yamaha model launch where he has to think of something cool like the airbox is white because it cools the air down.
The air is like 1 degree cooler.
It's cool. It's cooler when it comes into the engine when the airbox is white. You didn't know this? Ask Terry about this. You really need to ask him because he told me that was the way it was, and I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Absolutely." And then when they went back to the black airboxes, I asked him. I said, "Well, what about that cool air?" And there was no response.
What about the eye booster?
Oh, the worst product ever? Yeah, he was pimping that for a while too.
I would like to note that you're having a really good conversation once you left the microphone.
That's okay. I mean, who cares? Like, are you watching it? It sounds the same. Could you hear what he was saying? A little bit?
A little bit.
Yeah.
We'll fix it up in post.
Trevor talked, and kind of like, you guys are kind of the same. I like co-hosts that don't talk, except for when I'm drinking.
Right.
So, anyways, thank you for joining the show. Drive safe. You need a Monster or something like that?
Maybe.
Just walk down the hall. There's a whole selection of them. Just don't get into the booze, okay?
Is it Ricky's Monsters?
Yeah, they're Ricky's Monsters.
I'll have one.
They're sponsor stuff. Yeah, you don't think I buy any of that stuff? I get them. I get sponsored too. I had Red Bulls too. Kendall got me on the Red Bull program, but they're all gone. They're having a hard time sourcing cans, evidently. So, okay, everybody, welcome back to the show. Sorry for the little sidebar. Glad my co-host finally decided to speak up on his way out the door.
After he got off the mic.
Yeah, off the mic. Did you see that? How we had a nice, interesting conversation, Logan?
Yeah.
That's what makes this show, is interesting conversations. Yeah. So cool.
Oh, he also did choose, didn't he? He made the choice.
He made the choice.
Yeah.
He made the choice for the $100 Taco Moto thing, and I would like to congratulate. It's Justin Smith, right?
Justin Smith.
Justin Smith. And so this for a lot of reasons, and believe me, like the headlock I had Trevor in was nothing compared to my enjoyment that Justin rattled off a couple of the really important things here. Use a lot of gas. Keep your oil fresh. Keep your air filter clean. These are things we say in the show. And he did a nice picture. It's actually a really beautiful picture. Almost so much so that you can't see the bike that well, but we see enough of it. And he had a complete list of most of the stuff on the thing. And even though he tried to make it an insult that he towed a Husaberg out of the desert, what he really did was assisted a hand to Husaberg. So he's a Husaberg lover by default, and by that, his picture will be being towed along by my Husaberg on the board. It's been officially boosted up into the Roost segment. So. Justin, enjoy your $100 from Taco Moto.
Reach out to Mike.
Yeah, reach out to Mike. Let us know what you do to your bike. and we'll go from there. But thanks again for supporting the show. If you're wondering, we're really looking for video submissions, and don't say you heard it here, but I think our first good video submission that follows the rules will probably win that week. I just said that. So the first good video submission may...
I want to apologize to Husky Holler.
Husky Holler?
Yeah, he actually made me a shorter video.
Oh.
And he sent it to me as like a YouTube link, and I didn't respond to give him enough time to actually send me the actual video so I could download it. So partially on me.
So that thing's in kind of the front of it's in the front of the line right now?
It's in front of the line.
Front
Yeah,
of the line,
I told
okay.
him I told him I'm sorry I didn't respond sooner. If you
be
get
the
it to me in the
first
next
one.
hour, it'll be on the show.
But you were jibber jabbering before the show. You weren't concentrating on coding your photos, right? To make them pop up in the show.
You did not put in the right code.
So
ran out of running ones and zeros.
Offline, Dave had a good question for me. Dave, what was your question?
So, Jimmy, I want to know a little bit more about the guys that are racing on the motorcycles that have to do everything on their own.
Yeah, so
what class is that called?
They call it like the code word is Moto, but it's Originals by Motul. I think of the two things, but so it's a separate class, and it's for riders that are kind of self-supported. What's real interesting is we've got a group of riders here in the U.S. that are really trying to go there next year and do this. Paul Neff, a good friend of mine, he does our schools up for CISPA Cycles up in the Pacific Northwest. He is training for this. He really wants to go and take a stab at Dakar in this because it kind of fits his style, and he's just he's a sleep under the stars on a I don't even want to call it a sleeping bag kind of guy, eat out of the can. So, but it's kind of they're really limited on what kind of assistance they're allowed to have. I believe they're only allowed 2 sets of wheels, so the ones on the bike and then one spare set. And they can have their tires changed, so they can take them over to the tire truck and have their tires and mousses swapped out on their spare set of wheels. But other than that, they're doing all of their own maintenance. Their bikes are kind of kept in an area away from anybody but themselves. They have access to a full set of tools and things. They can go get parts at different, from KTM or wherever. And most of these guys are riding the KTMs because there is a good part supply from that, available from, a support crew. But they're kind of supposed to, pack everything and do everything themselves, and they do. So that's the way that works. Why, are you thinking about going, Dave?
No.
No.
I've heard the stories from you from, how hard it is after, 5 or 6 days. And I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that anymore.
I always had a mechanic. I always had some sort of a mechanic. My first 2 years were kind of like, it'd be kind of like Moto, but I sort of had a mechanic. But in reality, all my mechanic did on those days was change my air filter and change the oil, which, 20 minutes. It wasn't, I wasn't cartwheeling my bike and doing hard on it or in any way. So my second year I did cartwheel my bike. I apologize, Pete.
One of the things I remember you saying is that you weren't allowed to bring very much stuff with you. Like there was a very limited amount of space in the transporters, and so you had to use the same socks for like half the rally, and then you got a second socks for the second half.
Right, and that's where I was probably mega Moto, because my first year, so Moto gets what they call an airplane box. It's a box that's probably, I don't know, it's like 1 meter by I'm going by metric because I think that I remember what it was, but so it's like 3 feet by 1 feet by 2 feet would be the size of the box. It's not very big.
That's not much space.
No, it's pretty. And the first year I got there, because I was kind of riding on a KTM, I was sort of on this privateer. Well, it was basically it was kind of like the production rally bike, but they're much different back then. And I had the box, and KTM basically came to me and said, "We are going to take your box," because they wanted to put their factory rider spare parts in my box, and since they were kind of sort of my support. And my mechanic, when my mechanic showed up, who's a guy named Eric Halmerson, a good friend of mine, they said, "Eric, you will be working on all of these guys' bikes."
Oh,
is not just mine, but he that's why he didn't work on my bike much. Yeah. So he was working on all these guys that were sort of on this kind of rental support program, and because he also worked for KTM here in the United States. He was kind of assembling bikes and doing stuff in the back when KTM was very, very small. So so it was and I said, well, so what do I do with my gear bag? And they're like, we have no room on the truck for your gear bag. I'm like, well, what do I do with it? They're like, we don't care. It's not going on. So I have my gear bag, and I'm like going, what am I going to do with this? And they're like, we don't care. Not going on the truck. I'm like, can you at least put my extra spare helmet? And they're like, nope. They say, this is Dakar. Whatever you ride off with, that's all you have for the rest of the rally. And it's funny because
that's pretty hard.
At the time, I was thinking, you assholes, nobody told me this.
Right.
But then again, I probably didn't ask. I probably just expected that I was going to be able to put a gear bag on the truck. But in reality, that's the way some of these guys, that's the way it had been done in the past. I mean, you really didn't. You took off with everything you had on your backpack, on your back, and you wore your gear that you were going to wear the entire rally. So it wasn't really like that then, but it was just transitioning to where it was like this. So I got on the boat like the Michelin man. I was like wearing 3 layers of clothing. I had all my clothes on it because everybody told me if you can get stuff on the boat, somebody will find a place to put it because all the cars are loaded on the boat and all the stuff is on the boat. And you get on the boat and you start, you take your clothes off and you start finding like, hey, car driver guy, can you throw that? I got the Citroen guys were carrying a set of underwear and socks for me. I had really fast underwear and socks that year. So.
So that was just the first year where it was that rough for you. You were able to obviously have it much easier when you got onto the factory team.
Well, so the first 2 years were kind of like this. The first year, every day I learned like something that would save my life, essentially. Something that like I didn't know. I didn't know I was going to be able to take a gear bag. I didn't know there was landmines on the course, right off the side of the course. I didn't know that my mechanic was going to have to work on everybody else's bikes. It's just you learn something like this every day. And I didn't know I should have gone to the doctor when I started having diarrhea after 2 days. I didn't know that they could just give you a pill and you'd be fine. So this was a little rough, and it caused I was really stupid. It caused an early termination to my rally first year, and then the real Dakar starts. Just getting your ass out of the desert, because the rally doesn't stop for you. It goes, and the medical.
Yeah. So when they all go by, I mean, there's nothing left, is there?
It's gone. It's 500 kilometers to the south, and you're sitting in a town called Zurat, Mauritania, wondering how the hell you're going to get to any place. A town famously known for still having slaves. And I looked like a really strong person.
When it was back in Africa.
It was in Africa, yeah.
Yeah, this is Africa as well.
Mauritania, Zurat, Mauritania. So I luckily got a seat on the last two seats on me and my mechanic on the VIP plane that was leaving, thanks to Franco Achirbi. So Franco Achirbi's has effectively saved my life. So, but yeah, and then the second year I kind of came back and I knew a little bit more. So at least when we were kind of going into it, I was going over there with Daniel Laporte, who had a ton of Dakar experience, and he had enough pull with KTM, and he had a factory bike, and I kind of had the same. Basically, instead of the purple bike, I had the orange one. It was basically the same bike, 20 more cc's or something, and we had enough pull to where I actually got a gear bag on the truck. It was like, that was like, this is cool. I got a gear bag. There's some underwear in there, and there's an extra helmet, and all the stuff that you probably should take when you go do something like this. But yeah. Learning experience. So Moto is a little bit like that, but at least you probably know. Well, I imagine it'll be interesting when Paul goes over next year to hear what he didn't know, like what he learned once he got there that nobody told him. But he talked about it a little bit, like it was 2 shows ago, I guess, Matt?
2 or 3.
2 or 3 shows ago. So around episode 120. And he talked a little bit about kind of what he was going to expect and what he was doing, and it'll be real interesting to see how that all works out. I mean, because it's changed so much. I'm not that valuable of a resource on the day-to-day stuff. All I know anymore is navigation, and that's changing every day too. So it's all changing.
So it's interesting is it sounds like the Moto guys these days have it way better off than your first experience there.
Well, they still have to sleep in a tent. That's normal. That was what we did. Even as a factory rider, I slept in a tent. They eat bivouac food. Now the factory riders all kind of have their own food. They have their own food thing. They're in motorhomes, have their own food. So everything's just changed. It's just evolved, and for better or for worse, it is what it is. And I guess the TV. I've always said this, and I noticed somebody in our chat even kind of mentioned that, said it's a TV show, and I knew that right from the beginning. It gets really good ratings. It's a big TV show. So now I just watch YouTube clips, and they sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. So, anyways, you did a little ride down in Mexico earlier in the year, huh?
Yeah, did a lot of riding in Mexico earlier in the year. 8 days, basically through rocks. The guys I went with just like to ride on rocks instead of on nice sandy roads.
I think all the sandy roads have been just destroyed by trophy trucks with 40-inch tires. So
you know what? I think you're right about that. It's much different than it used to be.
I kid you not. I remember, it was like really when we started riding together a lot. Even when we would go down to Baja and stuff. You would find those roads that you would think a lot of people in Class 11 cars went through here because they built up just those little tiny. It was 2 tracks with little berms that you could just rail around, and there were no bumps to speak of. It was just fun, sandy 2 tracks. Now it's changed.
Yeah, it's changed. I mean, like you said, back then you could just rail those corners and you just kind of unweight and wait, and you're just kind of floating. And it's not like that anymore. Now your teeth are getting rattled out.
Yeah, well, and then even up here we have just UTV bumps on a lot of the roads. So for those people don't know, so Dave Donatoni, one of my best friends. We started riding back in when did we start? We started riding together. It was after the ATK donuts, right?
It was, yes.
So we raced against each other for a while back in the District 37 Grand Prix and stuff like this. And Dave was one of Johnny Campbell's first partners in Baja, and went on to start riding for the factory Honda teams. Finished second overall in what year? 93?
I believe 93.
Yeah, in 93. And so he has a pedigree of like lots of double cross #1 plates, yeah?
Yeah, a lot of double cross #1 plates.
Yeah. And so we started trail riding. We were racing each other. We kind of bumped into each other kind of out trail riding a couple times, and then realized that we kind of had the same amount of like for the racing, which was diminishing, I would say this, and way more desire to go trail riding all the time. Correct?
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, the trail riding became a lot more fun than the racing, although we still would go and race now and then.
Oh, yeah, the team race streak.
The team race streak was a good one.
Yeah. So you came to one of our trail rides. You came to our Thanksgiving trail ride, and like the next weekend I said, "Hey Dave, there's a team race. Would you want to team up?" Because I was working at the magazine. I didn't really have any partners. Oh, this is a good story. The Barkmaster.
Oh, Cal City.
Cal City. Remember there was this. It was which club was it?
Cal City. It was the Cal City Grand Prix.
Which was it? Prospectors that put on Cal City Grand Prix. Yeah, Viewfinders.
Luke Peralta. Oh, Viewfinders.
Viewfinders. and they had a big pro purse for the team race. And I'm like, hey, Dave, do you want to ride this? And, we knew we'd be going up against some fast guys, but like we were both kind of fast, but not really. You were were you ex-factory Honda at that point, or you were kind of had a...
At that point, I believe that I was still on the Honda team, and I had the Eric Kripke Barkmaster CR500.
Yeah. So, but you weren't allowed to race. You could only race it in closed course.
That's right. There were some rules.
Yeah, you couldn't race it. You couldn't race it. You had to race the 4-stroke if you went out and did like a hare and hound or whatever. And so,
yeah, exactly. That would.
Right. So
yeah.
You took this thing and did you was it vet or unclassified?
So I took it, and it had a brand new piston in it, and so I raced it in I think the unclassified race, the first race in the morning.
Yeah, because I don't think I was at that time. I don't think I was old enough to ride the vet race. So you might have. But I remember,
maybe it was the vet.
Yeah,
I lined it up on one of the races.
Hey, knowing us, we showed up. We showed up late. we there's no, if unclassified was super early, it's like, why waste time? We're just going to show up and ride ride enough till we can ride around. So yeah, so probably it was vet race, because it's I'm starting to remember some of this.
Yeah, so it's probably the vet race, and I remember lining it up and going off the start and going through the gears, and just before I clicked it into fifth, the thing just locked up.
How fast was it going?
Oh, I was probably going nearly 90 miles an hour at that point.
I thought it was more like 100 and something. I thought it was up to 100, because remember we talked to the cop that was at the end of the street with the radar gun?
Oh, it would go 119 is what he said.
No, I think it was 112 actually.
And that was after it ceased.
Yeah. Because we talked to him at the end of the day, and I remember, because did I start the team race or you started?
I'm pretty sure I started it.
Yeah, so I think you started the team race, and I'd rode my KX250 in whatever the 250 race or whatever it was, and I just remember I was going down that straightaway, and kind of your speed doesn't really on the pavement. It's not all there, and you told me that I didn't have to let off at all when I went off the pavement out into the desert. I could just just leave it wide and just keep going. And I was just singing it down the pavement. And I remember the cop was out of his thing with his radar gun. He jumped in the car, closed the door, and threw it in reverse and started backing up when I went off into the desert, because I didn't lift. You said not to. so I held that thing. He was backing up, and this is why I talked to him, because he came over and talked to us at the van at the end of the day. He's like, I had you at 112. I thought you were going to hit me. There's no way you could turn. I'm like, yeah. And then here's the cool thing. You go out in the desert, and then the bike just went, rah, 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 rah. It didn't even rev. It just kept moving at about 100.
Yeah, that bike was geared to the moon, and it had the motor to pull it. Thank you, Eric Kripke.
Yeah, that was and you got in trouble for letting me ride it. I remember that, because I wasn't a Honda guy.
You weren't an authorized rider.
Yeah, but we did win by like a huge margin. Like, we beat Rossler that day.
We beat everybody.
Yeah, we beat everybody. I think we beat like some some heavy hitter teams, like Larry, and maybe it might have been Kenny Perry or someone like that. But we beat some. No, Bruce wouldn't have been there, or Dave wouldn't have been able to ride with me. He would have been shut down immediately.
but we beat some big name guys. I mean, the Team Green guys, and a couple of the Team Green guys were there, and we beat them, and it was a nice payday for us as well. I remember that.
Huge. I mean, back then for racing motorcycles, I think we both walked away with at least a couple grand a piece, at least.
Yeah, we did. We were both just kind of laughing, going, "Wow, this is cool."
I know. It wasn't.
We should do this more often.
Yeah, we should do this more often, which we started doing, and then it was. And I would usually just, because we started riding test bikes, right? I was bringing bikes from the magazine.
Yeah, exactly. We started doing that when you were working at Cycle World.
Cycle World, yeah.
Yeah.
So
it goes back. that far.
Go to the SRA Grand Prix, hone the craft, then show up at the back then it was just a Grand Prix, but it was a District 37. It wasn't quite a big six. They were just different, but all the clubs were trying to outdo each other by having the big pro purse for the team race, and that was we made a few bucks, had some really good times, but so that's that, and then but what really happened is we started realizing how much we like to go on really stupid, ridiculously hard trail rides, generally on XR 400s.
Yeah, well, I believe what happened was at some point during that trail riding time, you were going back to Dakar. And so we had a rule as far as
it was the extreme enduros before Dakar. It was
extreme enduro.
Remember, I was going to the Gilles Lay and over to do the 2K, the beach race, and a couple of those other ones. Yeah. So explain the rule.
So I believe the rule was that you had to ride either a half a day, which is 12 hours, right? Because there's 24 hours in a day. So half a day, 12 hours, or 150 miles of trail.
Yep.
Those were the rules.
Whichever came last.
Whichever came second. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were out there from sun up to sundown, and
it was every Saturday morning. It was like, I remember we'd meet at like the Denny's in Silmar or whatever. Where is that? Is that what it was? Denny's at Silmar.
Yeah, in Silmar, and we'd carpool from there.
Yep. And then it was to Mojave Bob's house, park at Mojave Bob's, open up his garage before he'd wake up in the morning, get our gear on, and then what time we come back? Just dark, time for human soup.
Yeah, we always rode back in the dark. It was always dark when we were riding back to Bob's, and he was always worried about us.
Yeah, and and you always seem to not have a headlight.
Somehow the headlight always seemed to stop working right around dusk.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I would ride in, on your side.
Yeah,
using your headlight as well, and we still just kept it taped.
One headlight works for two. It's all good. But the funny, no, it's just kind of like what we're doing is like we just go in these stupid. I mean, they were just stupid rides, and like we just always make them worse, and just going on like harder, more and more difficult terrain. So because I really wanted to do well at the extreme enduro, and here's Logan. Here's how you can tell you got a good buddy. You just like. And this is back before like you could text or anything like that. I have to call him like on a phone, and the phone had a cord attached to it that went into the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you dial the thing, and I call Dave, and so I'd say tomorrow we're riding. Yep. Okay. See ya. That was the end of the discussion. We didn't have to talk about what time to meet, where to meet. Knew it. He didn't ask like what time am I going to be home. He didn't have to ask what kind of gear do I bring, how much money. He didn't. There's no question. He just knew we're going to go riding. We're going to be out for a long time. Just be prepared. Mm-hmm. And then never complained. There's no complaints. I had never had any complaints. Even when his light didn't work, we figured a way out of it. But how long did you ride that CR250 without coolant in it?
I bet you that I rode it for several months before I discovered that there was no water in it.
Yeah, so we boiled the coolant out this one time, and we didn't have any water, and then by the time we got back to Bonks, which is Jawbone Canyon Store, this is a place on the side of the 14 where we'd ride down out of the mountains and we go there. We were probably really cold or really hungry or a combination of the both, and we got there and just decided to. What was it? We used to put like I used to buy the cinnamon candies. Remember those cinnamon ball things, the fireballs?
Oh, I remember those.
And you'd put them in your mouth between your cheek and gum, kind of like chew, and it would start burning in your mouth, and then your face wouldn't get that cold, or you wouldn't think it would get that cold. Mm-hmm. And that was right after you ate this like really toxic looking Bonks dog, which was the rotisserie grill.
Yeah.
Where the hot dogs spin. They'd been there for at least a month.
Oh.
And we'd get a couple of those. And
yeah, we'd call it a bonk dog.
Bonk dog.
Bonks. Isn't it Bonk's?
Yeah,
Jawbone's store.
Yeah, get you home. It'd take you home, and it'd make it back to Bob's. By then, you couldn't feel your hands or anything. But then we go to this place that was a Chinese restaurant, and it was we called it Human Soup. Mm-hmm. And you know when you're kind of cold and really hungry, and you go someplace, and Bob said it was the only place that was safe to eat Mojave. So we'd go there, and the reason we called it Human Soup is you get this bowl of soup, this stuff. And I don't really like soup, but it was a bowl, and they're like just whatever they had. Like, okay, we're gonna chop up some beef and some celery and some this, and they're just chopping stuff up. As they're just chopping stuff up, and they get so excited because they want to make you really good soup. They start chopping, and they start chopping their finger off. And they literally, there would be like 4 or 5 slices of the person that was serving you's finger in the soup. But you were so hungry, it was so good. It really did taste good. I'm not lying, am I, Dave?
No, you're not. I mean, we just didn't ask questions. We just said, "Can we get the soup?"
Yeah,
and then we didn't ask what was in it or anything like that.
The soup, and it was good. You know, I got us re-energized, able to drive home. It was all all good. And then maybe we might have to stop on the way home at like Bob's Classy Lady.
Oh, yeah,
allegedly
we did. We may have once or twice.
Once or twice back in the day. No, it was Classy Chassis. Where was it? It wasn't. No, they're car restoration joints, aren't they? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, how did that work? I don't remember. Which one was it? It was. What was the one like down by down like by the railroad tracks? Down the Bob's Classy Lady. Bob's Classy Lady. I can't even believe I remember this. So, anyways, nothing like
a long time, but yeah,
nothing like that to finish off a 12 or 14-hour trail ride.
Yeah, I think I was gone from home probably a good 16 hours on those Saturdays. And so were you.
I had another hour drive from there.
Yeah,
headed down
you were gone
south.
17.
Yeah,
or 18.
So Logan, that's how you find a good riding buddy. With the exception of the right after you finish your soup, you go home.
Yeah.
Yeah, got that. Logan had a little hottie that was wanting to hang out with him last week, but he ditched her to go riding dirt bikes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Any other good stories there for us, Dave?
I'm just trying to remember the time we were testing the Cannondale motorcycle. At first, I think it was the first year it had fuel engine. Yeah, bike of the year.
It was the only year. It was only offered with fuel injection. So.
Yeah, and I remember that we were riding along and we were like going, "Yeah, this bike's pretty good," and then all of a sudden it just kind of stopped.
The Cannondale stopped,
I believe. Yeah, and so we started taking the seat and the tank off, and we're trying to figure it out. And the fuel line.
That was the gas.
Oh, that was the gas.
So,
got the big bulge in the fuel line.
So remember this. I'll tell you, this is where this story gets even better. So we were out riding. So I was, editor, off-road editor at Cycle World magazine. I had the latest, greatest, trickest, whatever. And so I tended to ride the stuff that was the most hard to tune, junkiest stuff I needed to learn the most about, bikes. And Dave was always there. Yeah, I'll ride it. Whatever. Just bring it on. So we had a gas back when gas was Spanish. Fuel injected, I think it was FSE 450. And we had a Cannondale 440E, 2 fuel injected bikes. And so we were going to go ride way up in the mountains and do all of our, normal hard loops and test them. And we were on the way back, and the gas popped a fuel line. Like it wasn't a high enough pressure fuel line that went into the injector. And we were on the side of the road. And that was the day of the 14 flat tires, wasn't it? Or was that a different day?
It could have been that same day, but maybe not.
I know we were on those 2 bikes when we had all the flat tires, because that's when the guys rode up to us, and we're on the side of the road, and the guy wanted like $30 for a front tube. He's like, He's like, first of all, he tells us we're on the side of the road, bike up on the edge of the road, wheel off, we're out there, and we're literally baling wire the tube. We pulled the tube out and we actually wire tied the tube to pinch it where the slice was. And we were at this point, and I think this may have been the second time we were doing this. The first one actually held, but this, I don't remember what was going wrong. It was just like tube hell. And this guy pulled up, and he's like, oh yeah, I was riding all the Jimmy Lewis trails up in these mountains. I was riding Jimmy Lewis trails. He's telling this to me, as he's trying to charge me $30 for a tube. And I have my helmet off, and I mean, maybe I'm not that recognizable. I don't know, but maybe that Jimmy Lewis cat works at a magazine where he would be the only guy that would have a Cannondale and a gas. And this guy's just like, and he, I don't think he was screwing with us, because it definitely wasn't. And we're like, yeah, okay, cool. And anyways, I paid him $30 for the frickin' tube after he'd ridden my trails all day long. And allegedly.
Yeah, that guy, he had no idea who he was talking to.
But he was such like man, help a buddy out. Even if you don't know who the guy is. Or wait a minute, maybe it's because I'm an ass, Logan, and he was getting back to me.
Yeah.
He did it on purpose.
Maybe.
Or it was just divine intervention.
Anybody
Maybe
with
he
a
could.
dirt bike could give him that too.
Yeah.
Anybody with a dirt bike could give him that too.
Yeah. You don't charge the guy you just rode his trails all day, allegedly. That Bob, you're raising your hand.
Charge anybody.
Back in those days, you used to call it gas,
Work. Yeah, the gas. We called the gas work. Because like you'd said, Dave, I remember what did we do? We duct taped the crap out of that hose.
Yeah, we did. We just basically put
duct
I think we
tape
took sticks and put sticks around it
and
and
hose
then
clamped it.
wire and tape and hose clamps.
Hose clamped it.
We
and
just
got it out of there.
it's basically like a splint all the way around it.
Splint on the fuel line. So when you hear these terminologies like this terminology, rigatoni, this is what I'm Jimmy rigged and Dave is rigatoni, and between the two of us, we could pretty much. How about the exploded clutch cable on the XR400?
I was thinking about that. That was one of the best rigs ever.
Yeah, deep. We were deep in the canyons at that point. It wasn't coming out without a clutch. And I don't know if anybody.
So it's a funny story.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's ever
seen
this.
Because.
I'm going to let you tell the lead up story, but I'm going to tell you what happened to the bike, and then you can talk about. Oh, I was in top form, right?
Yeah, you were like, you rode up the hill. It was a hard hill, but we both ridden up it plenty of times, and I was having trouble getting up the hill.
Because we are on XR400s, and they're known for high horsepower hill climbing prowess, right?
They're high efficient. Yeah, they're very good motorcycles for certain things.
But mine made it.
Yeah, and so I go make a run, and I don't make it, and I'm like, darn it. So I go try to make a second run, and I don't make it, and it's what's happening is the clutch is no longer working. And I'm unable to get the maximum horsepower out of my little 400 because I can't use the clutch to feather it up through this loamy, sandy, rocky trail we're riding.
Yeah, you have to back it off for just a second if you were to downshift. And on that bike, if you back the throttle off, you've lost everything. And
you had to keep the moment. And so, anyways, Jimmy's like, "What's the matter? What's going on?" And so. What happened was the clutch cable the housing exploded. The cable didn't actually break; it was the housing that exploded.
Yeah, so the housing, it's like it's
no longer.
Yeah, it has a spirally, housing around the outside of it, and it's sort of the plastic on the outside. Dave really works on his bikes a lot. He spends all his time just polishing things. I'm joking right now. It just run it. It's the way it works here.
It's basically held together with duct tape and baling wire.
But there was no duct tape or baling wire on this clutch cable at this time. But I think it just seen so much service use, and probably next to that motor, it gotten pretty hot. So it kind of exploded so that the outer housing kind of popped and then crunched in. So there was no integrity for the cable to work. So if you think about how a cable works, is the outside shell holds stiff and then the inner part of the cable tugs through that. But once the cable turns into like essentially an accordion, it would just crunch. So his cable wouldn't work. And I told him, I'm like, you don't need that clutch to ride up that hill. So much so that I think you told me, oh yeah, then you do it, right?
I said, then you go ahead and ride it up the hill.
So I gave it my best. I got almost as far as he did. Let's put it that way. I had to eat crow. So then we're down at the bottom of this canyon because this is the only way out, unless we go back, and it just wasn't an option for us. So I think we use same things: sticks, hose clamps, duct tape.
I always carried baling wire in my bag.
Yeah, baling wire. Yeah. I think we used baling wire. Actually, I think there was a fence somewhere around, and we clipped off some wire from a fence and used that as the stiffener.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right.
And then we wrapped wire around that, around tape, and then hose clamped the crap out of it at the beginning and the end, and then you had a clutch.
Yeah, and so I know that this was Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
And so our destination was probably another
Ray and
60 or
Ray and
70
Lori,
miles
yeah,
from
60,
where we were.
Yeah, 60 or 70 miles, Ray and Lori's camp for gas.
From where we were for gas. And it's like, well, the clutch seems to be working again, so let's go.
Yeah. Good thing I was wearing an airbag that day.
Oh my gosh. That's another story right there.
Yeah. I was testing a jacket that actually had it. You pumped the jacket up. It was like a jacket / chest protector thing. Then I ate a rock. Like, this landed on a rock. I should have been destroyed. And I was wearing this thing, and believe it or not, it really, really, really worked. So another story for another day. Me and Dave could tell riding stories all day long.
Oh, yeah.
You may actually learn something. Like, Logan, do you know how to fix a cable now if it breaks?
I know I should carry more jerry rigging, tools,
Jimmy
wire,
rig.
and
Yeah.
sticks, and
Right. What do you
hose
carry?
clamps.
What do you carry now?
MP tool.
An MP tool.
Yeah.
That's a good start. Condoms?
No.
Okay. Because like you can use those like to cover your fingers if you're going to get them in oil
Yeah.
and stuff like this. Yeah, just checking. They teach about this in school, right? How to use those as like work related devices.
Yeah.
I have actually heard of like using condoms with the mechanics. I don't know exactly when and where, but I know there's a trick with condoms.
If you need some sort of a something to hold fluid or to you might need to put your tongue someplace you don't want to. I don't know why, but
Right.
you just never know. See, Dave, we just figure all these things out on the fly, right?
Yeah, we didn't really prepare for anything. We just prepared for everything.
You want to, I know your dad he likes Kessler a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
I taught him this. You know what Kessler will work as?
Fuel.
No,
Yes, fuel.
oh no, I've never tried it for fuel, but that's a good idea. Don't put that beyond me. Hydraulic clutch fluid.
Oh.
We've used Kessler.
Oh.
Yeah, I believe it'll
Yeah.
work. Yeah, any liquid will, really.
Actually, Kessler and Red Bull mixed. Got my KTM 200 out of the mountains one time.
That's right. We had to sacrifice our bad bull so that the bike would have a clutch.
You can't compress it, so yeah, it's gonna work.
Yeah, it does work, and I think somehow something in the alcohol swelled the seals,
Yeah.
and then the Red Bull just made it angry.
That'll-
And it's funny because like just like his coolant, we put it in there, and we went riding, and it kind of started working, and I just forgot about it. We rode the whole rest of the day. In fact, I rode that bike like 2 more times, and completely forgot that I needed to fix this because the clutch worked just fine. So, Kessler, smooth as silk. I could use a sponsorship because it's not just for your hangover you're going to have.
Oh, yeah, it is that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Bob. I need to get Bob on the show. Have we had Bob on the show yet?
I don't think so.
Yeah, we need to get San Felipe
He
Bob
has a
on the
shirt
show.
waiting for him too. Or did you take that to him?
I gave him. I left it someplace for him.
Okay.
It's up in the mountains, hidden. He's gonna have to go find it. So, anyhow, any other good ones, Dave?
Oh,
What did it look like when I was testing that TM300?
oh no! Is that right after we? Is that right after we left the cabin?
Right after we left the cabin. Helicopters, right?
Yeah, helicopters.
Not the
yeah.
kind that pick you up. It's the kind that the bike does when it's flying through the air when you hit black ice.
Yeah, I mean,
on
I
a road.
You ride TM 125 really well, but that particular TM just wasn't really working for you at that point.
Third overall at Tecate, the year that Eric
That's right.
Mattson let us down. We talked about this in the
That's what I
show.
was-
Eric Mattson made comments on the show last week,
Oh, really?
and I told the story about how you tested out for Team Shit, and that we were expecting a big win. And it didn't go over. Hey, you know the hose clamps and sticks sounds very much like I fixed San Felipe Bob's broken leg that one time. He just brought that up.
Oh,
So, anyhow, hey Dave, we're gonna have to get you out here to be a sit-in guest because Logan says he'd give up his chair in a second. You said that, right?
Yeah.
Because then you could just like hang out and you could be texting chicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, Dave can come take my spot too.
You can't. Nope.
What?
Nope.
2 buttons.
No technology.
2 buttons.
Yeah.
He watches a little green square the whole time. That's it.
Well, I checked the chart.
I think
too.
I'd be happy to take Logan's spot for a few minutes over there, just for
Yeah.
kicks and giggles.
Yeah. All you have to do is start telling stories, and I'll start pouring drinks, and it's all good.
All right.
So, hey, it was good.
I don't know,
Good chatting with you. I miss the fact that we don't get to ride as much as we used to, but the life shit gets in the way of riding all the time. How the heck did we go riding all the time back then?
That's a good question. Just younger and maybe less responsibility.
We were both kind of adults at the time. I think we had responsibility. I mean, you had your company, right?
I did.
I was sort of working full time. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's because you lived a few hours closer than you live now.
What about wait? I'm going to blame mountain bikes.
Oh, well, that's probably half of it.
Dave got really into mountain bikes. You know how you were getting into mountain bikes?
Mm-hmm.
I saw that's where you're going. That's why I deflected you back onto motorcycles.
Yeah.
It's a way better path. Dirt bikes.
Hurt your shoulder.
Yeah, stay with the dirt bike.
Dude, I'll ride mountain bikes with you tomorrow. Let's go. Like, I'm talking to Logan. Oh, you all ride with electric bike. I got some good loops out here. The ride I did, there was a new trail I did that was really, really good down in Vegas. Like, somebody spent a lot of stinking time building this thing. So, it was cool. But anyways, thanks for joining us, Dave. It's been like an almost full length of the show. I think you didn't know you were going to sit in and co-host our show, did you?
Before the show.
Yeah.
No, I called you for a quick question about an hour ago, and we're still here talking. So
No,
that was cool.
way
Give me
more an
an
hour.
opportunity.
Yeah. Did your social media manager get bored? Did you fall
2
asleep
plus
yet?
hours.
All right. No, she's just doing her job.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when you get all the likes, and we'll go from there. So, cheers. We'll see you on the trail. For everybody else, we're gonna go ahead and see if we can answer any more questions. Did we run out of any other questions?
I think everyone was just kind of liking the stories, and then everyone's kind of. There's Justin Smith is talking about the tracking on Dakar right now because Ricky's having a good day.
A good day?
Yeah, he's having a good day.
Oh,
It's only the first waypoint though, so it's way too early.
It's
way too early.
You don't just judge a day until the end of the day.
He had a good waypoint.
He had a good waypoint.
There we go. That's a good way of putting it.
Well, it's tricky. I mean, it's tough to do all. Yeah.
It's kind of fun watching the live tracking though.
I feel super bad in honesty for Ricky because he's put so much work in this year.
Yeah.
He's worked really, really hard, and we practiced like a lot of the stuff that's sort of like literally gone wrong, but it's not. It hasn't gone wrong. It
wasn't his fault. Yeah.
Exactly. It wasn't. It was like I said. They're making it to where it's more of a guess than an actual navigation move. And yeah, you if for him to get that right, he would have had to been lucky, and that's kind of a trick. But yeah, so Mark Daniels asks, didn't you race an XR50 in Baja? No, it was an XR100. I see Bob already caught that, but yeah, that's the one that's hanging up in the school classroom, hanging up in the air. And Dave raced Baja 1000 or 500 with me on that bike. In fact, Dave was when I won the Baja 1000 with Johnny Campbell, Dave was my pre-run guy, because you always have a pre-run guy, and our main motorhome driver to get us around down there. So lots of fun times with Diamond Dave, and he's a beast on a mountain bike, and motivates me to get my ass in shape all the time. So good times. Thanks for having him on the show. Thanks to Trevor Hunter for coming on. Thanks, Logan, for keeping that seat warm.
Yep.
I'm impressed that you actually did your homework this time. Got that YZ read.
Mm-hmm.
None of us did our homework of filming our Rooster Endo videos.
I almost did. I almost went outside and did this, but I got involved in putting that motor together, which I did like 3 or 4 times. I mean, literally, we had to redo. We have a high speed video of it that I'm ashamed that I even, not a high speed, but a slow mo or a time lapse thing that's on the GoPro that I'd be ashamed to actually put up there, but I might actually do it just to show you. It's like you make mistakes, but like at least I felt I was smart enough to kind of check my work and go back and make sure it wasn't right. It was right. Okay, got to fix this, got to fix that. And now, if I went and did a YZ250F motor tomorrow, I'd be a pro. Be so good. But my KTM's the other one on the bench, and I'll forget everything. I'll forget which little moves that make things easier. And by no means am I doing it exactly by the book. I'm doing it by technique. Okay, that's a symbol for the end of the show, Logan?
I was checking my watch.
Yeah, that's the end of the show, right?
I guess.
So what do you say at the end of the show?
See you out on the trail.
Okay, everybody, see you out in the trail. Cheers.